All right. So I've been waiting for this time, and here we are. Um, we're starting a fresh series today on tech interviews. Just before we begin, I wish to give you a background of detailing why I thought it necessary to begin this series. So one, we'll be discussing these along the way, but just to hint you, one of the reasons is I've personally found it very challenging, and I still find it very challenging to land jobs. So along the way, I've attended several interviews, and some I've passed, some I failed, and I learned in all my successes and failures. And one of the things that I learned is I really need to do a lot of research on how to handle interviews. These some things come natural, but other things you really have to learn and apply them during these interviews. So you might be failing and wondering, why am I finding it so hard to ace the interviews? And maybe you just haven't done enough homework, and maybe you just need an eye opener. And so if this video will serve as an eye opener to you, I welcome you to partake in it. And additionally, it's not only meant for people who want to be interviewed. It's also meant for people who want to recruit tech guides, so you at least get to have an idea of what things you are going to look for while you're interviewing the tech guys. Actually read a book, and my content is actually curated in a way because I am following the order of that book to discuss and to add flesh to whatever I read in that book. So, and I've also done extra research besides just reading this book and my own experiences. I've also looked at the experiences of other devs. I'll give you links. You can look at the links below this video and be able to have a greater to have a detailed view of what you're discussing in this series. So the book is called The Google Resume or Resume. I don't know how you pronounce it, but whichever way. And the author is Gayle Laakmann MacDowell. All right, I don't know if I've pronounced that right or wrong, but anyway, don't worry. The book is about how to prepare for a career and land a job at Apple, Microsoft, Google, or any top tech company. Not a mediocre company, a serious company. But generally, this knowledge will also help you to be able to ace interviews in other small interviews or startups that you want to join. It will just set you apart from the rest of the guys who've never done anything that has been discussed. So the big companies, when talking of the big companies, talking of companies like Microsoft, Apple, Google, Amazon, Facebook, name them. But these are the big companies you're talking about. We have Tesla and so on and so forth. But yeah, this Tesla just started the other day. We're talking about the companies that have existed for a while. Tesla is also a big company though. All right. So these companies have, they are different in terms of, they have some similarities and differences. And their culture too. They each have its own culture that differs from the other in some way. So like Microsoft is known of being monolithic, and there's a lot of red tape. Before you have your application done and shipped, it will have to go through different persons who will have to say yes or no. So the company itself is big. It has different organizations, so many organizations within. So you might be working in one organization within Microsoft and your colleague is working in a different organization. You might never get to know guys who work in those other organizations and so on and so forth. So it's a huge company. Apple is known of, it's also a huge company, and it's known of it's known by the fact that it is very secretive. So it yes the products are awesome in terms of look, the designs and stuff, but they tend not to give their secret to the rest of the world. If you read and you get to hear from some of the devs, it is so sad that even devs can't at some point can't discuss with the other devs on what projects they are handling, what things they are doing and stuff like that. Issues like that might lead you to being fired. Guys who really get to know what happens in and out, who got like full information of everything, are the guys at the top. Those are the guys who know everything. But the rest of you guys, you just given your task, just focus on it and go home and sleep and be happy. Don't ask a lot of questions. About Google, Google is one of the uh, engineering driven company. They are so I can say really care so much about their products being well engineered, tested, and stuff like that. So that's why we say that Google is the nerdiest of the nerdy. So yeah, and then with Google, it's not product oriented in that it's not just all about that, like, let's have this product done fast and shipped, and then the rest will take care of later. No, uh, they want the best. It has to be tested. It has to pass through lots of things that has been put into place. So that is it. And then Amazon, it's customer or product driven. So yeah, and then it is so much guided by its leadership principles. Maybe you'll have to take time and go and look at what the leadership principles are, but the leadership principles guide them in entirety in how they develop their products, how they ship their products, and so on and so forth. So this is one of the unique features, the leadership principles. These other companies like Microsoft, Apple, and Google, you don't get these leadership principles and stuff like that. There's some little bit of freedom here and there, So, and then with Facebook, it's also a product driven, not so much engineering driven. So they're also after getting the product quickly done and shipped. And then it is also their products are also data driven. They collect a lot of data, and based on that data they are able to like add or remove features from their products. So these are just some of the unique features when you're talking of these companies, and it's a good thing for you to be able to like know look at these companies and be able to see which one is a fit for you. So you might not be the guy who wants to be so into an organization that is so secretive. You might want an organization where you can be nosy, and you want to like be able to know what these other guys do, what's happening here and there, for your own reasons. But some other guys are comfortable. Other people are comfortable with just handling their own whatever task they've been given, and they really don't care that much of what other guys are doing. So if you're that kind of a person, then Apple is good for you. If you're engineering driven, and you have to test your product, you have to design and stuff like that, you have all these things in place, and your product has to go through this pipeline before it is shipped, then Google might be a place for you. Or if you're this guy, you're the kind of person who what really matters is to have this product out there, have people use it, and then collect feedback quickly. Based on that feedback, improve one or two, three features, then ship it again and stuff like that. Then Facebook might be the company for you, and so on and so forth. So, what are the similarities in the big companies? They share some similarities. One of them is that they are youthful. Youthful in the sense that legacy companies used to like be so strict on the mode of wire that you could use to be at workplace. So you could not just like put on any sort of cloth and get into the company. You know, people, so they were so strict, like you have to put on ties and suits and stuff like that. But with the most of these big tech companies, that casual, some people don't care about what you really put on, as long as you feel comfortable and you yeah, as long as you're comfortable and you're respectful to others, you know. Just be decent, you know, with your t-shirt and your jeans and your sneakers and so on and so forth. So most of the tech companies, the big companies, are that way. I know we might be having some companies that are so official, even the tech guys have to dress officially. Maybe if officially, especially in case of banks and so on and so forth. All right, so it just depends where you're working. And then another thing is heavy packs. The remuneration for your work is is good, you know, huge amounts of huge sums of money you can acquire from those companies, plus other benefits like free meals, gym, health insurance plan, and so on and so forth. Then there is also work-life balance, as in you're not put into so much work. You spend so much of your time at workplace or working on a certain product, in that you miss out on your the other part of your life, you know, because you really need to relax, have time with your families and friends, travel here and there, you know, um, have time to do other hobbies you got, or some other side gigs and projects and stuff like that. So when you're working for big companies, you have that time for you have that balance, the work and life balance. It is there. Very different from the startups. You might lack that, because most times you'll focus your time in you'll spend majority of your time at work. But the only time when maybe you would spend so much time at workplace is when a product is almost being shipped, or during a release or crunch times. And then we also have the big companies. You have promotions. It also depends on the leadership structure, your boss, whom do you report to and stuff like that, whom do you work under. The person you're working under, is that person responsible for so many other guys? If that person is responsible for so many other guys or duties, has got a lot of responsibilities within the company, then it will be very difficult for whoever you are under to notice your input, and therefore it will be difficult for you to get promotions. But if that person doesn't have lots of responsibilities, or a lot of people who are under him or her, then it becomes so easy for you to get promotions. As tech companies, most of the promotions you'll get that might not be so much to do with the managing people, because most of the tech guys are not so good at managing people. But you get that you will become someone like an individual contributor, or a valued engineer, or an architect for that case, you know. Yeah, so some good positions though. And then yes, so one of the similarities, the way in which they recruit engineers is almost the same. So when you learn these tricks here, when you learn these tricks, they're not just going to apply into one company. but it applies across. Awesome. So what are the differences? The differences actually are the culture. So like we talked of this, we said that Apple is creative. We said Google is so much of it is engineering driven. Facebook is product driven, and so on and so forth. So these things we looked into them. So that's the major difference between them. But the rest of the stuff might just similar. All right. Um, so what's the difference between the big versus small software companies? So we've talked so much of the big companies. What about the small company? So one of the things with the startups is that they are sexy, right? They are sexy in the sense that they will expose you as a developer to so many things, and yeah, it's more of a gamble to get into them, because at one point they might be doing so well, the next moment you'll get that it is crumbling and everything is being washed down into hell. You're losing everything, money, time, and you feel wasted. But at some point also you can feel that you over the moon, like overnight. Yeah, so it's a gamble of your time and money, because it can be worth it, or at the end of the day you might end up regretting. So you never know how it might turn up. So it's up to you to make the right choice. And then a good number of startup founders have prior experience working in big companies, a good number of them. So most of these startups that do well, you get that those guys had experience in some of these big companies. And that's why I insist that it is important to also work in one of these big companies, because you will gain a lot of technical and entrepreneurial skills that you later on come and apply in your startup. Another thing about the small companies is the good side about the startups is that we have diversity of skills. So you might not just end up handling the thing that you're good at, but you might have the opportunity to handle other duties. So duties that you had not even prepared for. For instance, you get in as a dev, but you also end up serving as a recruiter. You might or a HR, because we don't have maybe the company doesn't have the HR department yet. Um, yeah, you might end up doing lots of things. So you wear different hats, and therefore that means you're going to learn a lot of things at a go. So and then of course we have got leadership roles. It is so easy for you to get into leadership roles, as in compared to the big companies. The big companies, it might take you a lot of time working in that company before you get into leadership roles, but and team management. But with the startups, right away you can find yourself a leader. Within a very short time you're managing a group and you're growing the group, and so on and so forth. And then with also the small companies, there is you will have uh, control and influence. So in big companies, you might find as a developer you don't have any control and influence. Your leaders and those above them have control what you do, because so it means that you can within the big companies you can't just get in and have your product done and shipped out as quickly as you'd like it to. It might take years even for you to be able to see the work of your hands. Yeah, but with the startups, you might have your products ready within a span of within months, and then have your product shipped have your product shipped, and then you'd be able to like immediately see the impact of your work. So and you might even force the shipping to be done early or late, so this is the control you're talking about. You might talk to the management and have them come up with blogs and stuff, and even yourself write the blogs and publish them and stuff like that, do video to promote your product and stuff. these are things that you might not have while you're working in a big company, because you'll have to go through a lot of red tape and stuff like that, the hierarchies for you to be able to see your product done. So these are the advantages you have when you're working with a startup. And then, of course, rapid results and then high rewards. If lucky, you will be able to get high rewards, but it can be the other way around. So the bad side of the startups is that we don't have work and life a balance. So most of the times, because it's just beginning, we have a lot of work that needs to be done with so you'll get that most of the times you'll be spending lots of hours working on the product because it needs to be done quickly and shipped. And then we also have unclear job descriptions, because we said that you can wear different hats. So you don't need to like have specialized to be a recruiter or an HR. So you'll find yourself being given that task and you have to like deliver, you have to help, because things have to get moving before other departments fall into place. So because of the fact that you can handle different tasks, that leads to unclear job descriptions. You might end at one point you might have wanted to like get in. Maybe you had envisioned that you're going to get in and be just a developer and write software, but you might end up doing other tasks that you'll be asked to do by the owner. In fact, you might end up doing spending lots of your time doing totally different thing from what you had envisioned. So yeah, it's not a good thing sometimes. And then low pay. So most startups will pay you very little, below the industry standards. So it's up to you to see if you want to be part of it or not, you want to earn that or not. And then also there is limited credibility. Limited credibility in the sense that that startup might not be known, or will totally doesn't have a name out here. So what happens is even after you leave the company, the startup, and you are looking for the job out here, everyone, wherever you'll be applying, people will be like, what company is this? We've never heard of this. So the company doesn't have any credibility. It's not known for anything out here. And so it won't sell you, as in compared to someone who's been working in a big company. So the chances of you being dropped for whoever was working in a big company, the chances are high. So it's good that you also, if the company had shipped a product that's been used by millions of people and it is known, then you're lucky. Okay, so less mentorship, in the sense that you don't get senior engineers who would be able to help you in one or the other. And this is very true. Personally, I worked in a startup, and I thought that I was going to meet senior engineers, and then I found out later on that even I was a senior engineer in some way. So quite interesting. So most of the times you'll get that you will be learning most of the things on the go. So you're given a task and you don't know where to begin from. There's no one to help you. So you just have to like do your research and learn and proceed from there. And then most of the startups don't have benefits, or if they have, the benefits are less. So if you're thinking of going there and you have free lunch, gym and stuff like that, you might be disappointed that such things don't exist. All right. So you really have to make a decision at the end of the day, because what's important is you as a person. You have you need to have you need to envision your career path. Where do you want to be after a certain period of time, or what is it you really wanted to do? So as a dev, there are things that you need to put into consideration. For instance, you look at your needs while you're making decisions on your career path. These are some of the things that you should be looking at. Your needs. What is it that you need? Yeah. What are your needs? So in most cases, we all need money. Yeah. You have to pay rent. You have to be independent. Maybe you're at an age where your parents are not helping you or your relatives. So you need money to keep going, not just money to, you need money, good money to pay to afford a nice apartment, to dress well, and maybe you're supporting people here and there. So these are the factors that drive you, you know. So you want to get into a career that would be able to uh, cater for some of these things, or put you in line to be able to achieving much more, getting into the future. So the thing is, you not just look, let money not be the driving force as such, but let it be a factor. Okay, so let it not be everything that you are looking for, but let it be one of the factors within that. And then one other thing that people look into is no, before we leave even money. Personally, I had to leave a job because I worked there, I taken a contract, short contract, and then the agreement was that after that maybe we'll have an increment. But as things turned out, is that the owner of the startup was not willing to pay well, but when they could. So so these are some of the issues that if you feel uncomfortable, you feel that you are straining and your employer is not willing to like behave in some way, then you have to make a decision about it. And then recognition and respect. This is very crucial because when you do some good work, you need to be recognized for it. You know, people have to say that yes, they have to like, yeah, do something about it, either just to thank you in by word, or you know, um, give you a present, throw a party, stuff like that. It really means a lot. It looks it sounds light, but it means a lot. Being respected, you know, you can imagine working in a company. Personally, I was working in a company, and if the owner can go to extents of being abusive after you've worked so well and done a good job, it's not a good thing. So I've had talks with different devs, and some guys, some owners of some startups lack some of the leadership skills. So they're not respectful, you know. They don't care. Things like that mean a lot. So if somebody doesn't show respect and recognition, yeah, it not be a fit for you. So these are the things you look into. So your passion also is another thing. um so about passion is can you work in within teams, or do you love working as an working independently? These are the things you have to look at. So if you are this kind of person who would love to work independently, maybe um, a startup would be good for you, because within startups you can find that you are handling everything alone. But if you'd love to work in teams, the big companies, in a big companies you work in teams, you never work alone. So these are some of the things. So if you want to work independently, you can start your own company, join a startup. So there are different options to these. And then do you love creating products? Are you or do you love maintaining? So you have to choose. So if you are the guy who does you'd love so much to be on the side of creation than maintaining, then you should be the one being assigned uh, you should be a dev, you know. You write code, to you come up with new features and stuff. But if you want to be a maintainer, then you go on to the side of performing tests and stuff like that, stress testing and so on and so forth. And then are you also passionate about leading or joining? So if you're passionate about leading, then you're looking into the direction of being a project manager or a tech lead. That's your direction. If you're passionate about just joining, so it means that you just want to be assigned tasks and do stuff, and not be involved in leadership duties. So yeah, there are people who are fine with that. So it's also awesome. And then another thing to look at when you're making a decision in your career path is your talents. what are your talents? Are you good at numbers? So if you're good at numbers, then there are tasks within the organization that require guys who are good at numbers, because numbers are used to portray how intellect one is. So it's a good thing. So there are tasks that would require someone who's good dealing with numbers. Are you good, or are you good at writing and communicating? Can you communicate through writing, write blogs and stuff like that, do public speaking without fear and stuff like that? So it's just some of the stuff you look into, and you shape your career along that. So most of the guys who are good at writing and communicating, they might end up being teachers, or end up being lecturers, teachers and stuff like that, or involving themselves in marketing and stuff like that. um are you creative, or and a problem solver? No. So if you're creative and you're a problem solver, so maybe you want to take positions that will give you that opportunity of if you're creative, maybe you want to take on the work that has to do with designs and stuff like that. Yeah. And if you're a problem solver, also you might be part of the design team and the architect team and so on and so forth. And then you also have are you good at people skills? If you're good at that, then you can manage groups and so on and so forth. If you're not good at people skills, then that means you lack, or you're not passionate about handling groups, leading groups and stuff like that. And then sorry about these very books. This one has nothing to do with what you're talking about, but the thing is, when you're making decision, that's a typo. When you're making decisions, it is good that you look into your previous experiences, learn from them. Look at what really made you happy some time back. What was it? You're trying to dig for what you're passionate about. You're trying to find your passion, so that you can align your career along what you're passionate about, which is important. So you look at past experiences, and yeah, you see what really made you happy, what jumped out at you among within your previous experiences, and based on that, you can be able to decide on the way forward. Okay, and then so move on to the next section, advanced preparation. And what I have to say here shortly is that when it comes to tech interviews, your papers alone will not land you a job. So there are so many things that you have to put into play. So it's like a puzzle. So you have to handle different things and ensure that they are into place and you know about them. So so in this section, let's just get to know what else do you really need besides having good papers and good resume and stuff like that. So so what are the recruiters actually look for? Two things. The first thing is that they want to find out, are you a fit? Yeah. Do you have a place within the organization? Is there a section for you? Your skills, knowledge, are they applicable to a certain place within the organization? So if your skills are not applicable anywhere, then you're not a fit. But if the skills you have, the knowledge you have is directly applicable to a certain area within the organization that they're looking to fill, then you're a fit. The second thing is, will you do the job? You can be a fit, but you might not be able to deliver. So these are the things that they look for, the two most important things. So let's look into how you're going to answer this question. So number one, you have to develop a track record of achievement. You have to show that you are hardworking at school, and maybe your papers, your school papers, your undergrad certificate and so on will show these, your GPA and so on and so forth. So if you have a good track record of achievement, you passed, you got S in your class, and whatever you took, then that's good for you. And then They also look at are you good at writing and speaking? Can you communicate? That is, can you communicate through writing and speaking fluently to people? So you should be able to write. And we don't. I'm not insisting that you write. You'll be able to like write interesting novels and stuff like that. So just be able to communicate officially and uh, clearly and pass the message. That's the most important thing. So if you're not able to do this, then you have to go to school that will enable you to like be able, you have to take some learning that will enable you to write properly and speak properly. If you can't communicate to the public too, then you have to take public speaking classes just to ensure that you're able to speak, because in these companies you have to be able to communicate your ideas in writing or through speaking. And then another thing is they emphasize on a depth over breadth. And what we mean here is get to have something that you're very good at, in and out, at least one thing that you can demonstrate that you're excellent at. Don't be a jack of all trade where you know this, you know this, you know this, and you don't have deep knowledge or skills of everything that you claim to know. It's good to have a general idea, but it's also good to have one thing that you're very good at. And then the other factor is leadership. They look at leadership. Can you lead? Have you be able to in the past were you able to like organize people and have them do something? It doesn't have to really be a tech thing, but a demonstration of your leadership abilities it can be in tech or any other thing. So these are crucial things. And then another thing is you have to like do you have a mentor? Or if you don't have one, then you become one, you mentor other people. So if by getting a mentor, you get someone who's got like 5+ years of experience, 5+ years more of experience than yourself, compared to yourself. Someone who is able to like shape you in one way or the other to be to fit into your career path, or to be able to achieve whatever goals you have that that the mentor has achieved already. So yeah, someone to lead you, you know. Yeah, so it's you get one, and he'll be able to prepare you properly. Or if you think you have experience enough and you have skills and knowledge to share, then you can be a mentor. Like myself was a mentor at some point. I used to pick the university students and take them through software development and stuff. I am, but I'm not so actively into it. But who knows? Maybe in the near future. And then you develop a tangible skill that sets you apart from the rest. Have something that sets you apart. Okay, so this is up to you. You have to really decide what you're so passionate about, and just be good at it. Develop that skill, so that when you're within a crowd, you can be able to stand out and look different from the rest of the guys. And then learn about technology. Get to know what is going on. Read blogs, tech blogs, and so on and so forth. There are so many. Just whichever suits you, pick it and read it. So get to know about current issues in technology, cloud computing, IoT, robotics, AI, ML. These are just some of the things that are happening right now, plus others that I haven't mentioned, so that when you get into some of these interviews, you are at least able to discuss one or two, three things, because most of those companies, you'll get that they're handling those issues, or they want someone who can fit in and help them handle those issues. So you should be up to date with the current issues. And then another thing that's being looked at seriously, the academics. Most of the companies are very serious about academics, so they look at the academic excellence. It matters a lot. It portrays whether you are, as we said before, they look into, so if you worked so hard in class, then you most definitely you achieved your goals, or you got good grades. So, and that can only be portrayed by your academic excellence, your papers. So smart guys will always be separated from the guys who are not smart in most cases, not always, but in most cases through the through academic excellence. So but it's not all. Due to one or two, three reasons, you might not have the right papers that would portray academic excellence, especially in the area that you are after. Maybe you don't have a computer science background, yet you're so good, you have these skills and knowledge, you've built products and stuff like that. So there are different ways that you can use to multiple avenues actually that you can use to fill that loophole. Yeah, for instance, if you just learned, you're self-taught and you've built products, you've contributed to open source and stuff like that, those are the things that will earn you points. So that those are the things that will force your recruiter to forget about your papers because you don't have them. Or if you had papers and you never performed well because of one or two, three reasons that are legit, but you did something different uh, that is relevant to whatever job you're looking for in the tech field, then that will set you apart and you will be able to like go through successfully. And then another thing is we have got elite schools. Elite schools make it so easy for you to get job because they stand out from the rest. They make you stand out from the rest of the guys. For instance, guys from MIT, Caltech, or Harvard, Stanford, their papers, um, they'll always they'll always have an upper hand, as in compared to guys who come from schools that no one knows of apart from themselves. So that's a fact. Um, but anyway, it plays a big yes. It's good, you know. It's good for you to know that it plays a huge role when it comes to recruitment. I wish all of us could go into could have the opportunity to go through the elite schools, but that is not the case always. So but don't worry, we have so many engineers who get opportunities who've not gone through the elite school. So it also depends on what extra thing you have done that sets you apart from the rest of the guys. Apart from, so you might get a job and your school is not known, or anyone, the recruiters don't even know about your school, even the guys will work with. But your skill set will set you apart and you'll end up getting the job. And then picking your curriculum while you're at school, it does matter. So in the sense that pick courses, select courses that are in line with what you want to do in one or the other. So don't just pick courses that don't relate in any way to what you want to do going forward. So there are courses that are very relevant or relevant in one or the other. For instance, if someone did IT or did some course in finance, in the tech companies, we have finance positions, so you might end up getting a job and so on and so forth. So yeah, be wise, and then learn to code. Nowadays we have universities where or higher institutions of learning where people are taught how to code. It doesn't matter whether you are pursuing computer science or not. So everyone's like given basics of how to program and so on and so forth. Because even guys in finance would want to like be able to um, analyze their data and stuff like that, and these programming languages like Python might come in handy and make the analysis so simple. So it's something that like everyone has to learn if you are willing to. So it's a good thing. So yeah, at least learn to code. And then selecting your minors, they're also crucial if you really want to have a minor, that is. So pick someone that is also in line with what you are pursuing. So maybe you want to do some finance, and at the same time you have your major in computer science and you have a minor in finance. The two relate. But maybe if you pick something in anthropology, you might get it. I don't know if anthropology fits in, but yes, anthropology, you might get it so difficult for you to like because the minor doesn't relate in so well with the with the computer science, but something like finance does, and so on and so forth. Maybe medicine, as a minor in the field of medicine, and CS kind of relate, and so on and so forth. And then get project experience, work on projects. One thing I know of is most students never take the projects they're given in class seriously, but these projects can really help you when it comes to landing your first job, big job, in the sense that you don't just have to do the project and meet the scope that you're given by your lecturer or whoever it was, but you can take that project and do something extra, turn it inside out, get to learn much more than what you're just asked to deliver, and or you can build something extra on top of that project and put it in the shelves, and then come that day you just remove that project and dust it and showcase it. It can really be of help. And then companies care so much about what you can do. Can you deliver? Can you deliver? uh, so and that is based on what you've done. So based on your previous experiences, projects, if they look at the very fact that did you do a project from beginning to completion, or you dropped it within the way and stuff like that. So if you were just handling projects and you never finished, then that is a red flag. Or did you start something and you never pursued it to the end? That's a red flag. So these are things that tell whether you can do something from start to finish, just besides the paper. So remember, we looking at academic excellence, but you're also looking at the very fact that you can deliver. And then create good relations. Create good relations with your professors while at school. Help them in their projects. I know that they're doing some research here and there. You can be part of the research team and help them maybe code a certain the project they're handling maybe involves code, and you can write code, help them develop that app, or yeah, or maybe your project is related somehow to what the professor is doing, so you can work hand in hand. While you're helping the professor is also helping you do your project, and you all benefit at the end of the day. Another thing that will be looked onto is the work experience. So one of the things is that ensure that you get good recommendations wherever you'll be working, whatever job you'll be doing that is in line with your career path. Deliver your best, and get good recommendations from your boss, and then and this is all upon you. So if you want good recommendations, it's up to you. You really have to work for it and pursue that. Make an impact. How do you get good recommendations? You really have to make an impact in your current job. Ensure that you do something that will bring about a difference in a positive way, and then be good at what you do. Be very good at it. Let everyone just get to know that if we need this and that task to be done, it can be done so well by so and so. And then solicit feedback proactively. Don't wait until it is too late for you to solicit for feedback. Get it always. It shows that you really care about improving, about delivering quality. Yeah, and you also open to learn from failures and success. And then learn about other teams. get to know what other people are doing in the other teams. It gives you knowledge beyond just what you're good at or what you're doing. And then that means also becoming a generalist, understand what others are doing, and so on and so forth. Unless you're working in a company like Apple, or in an environment like that of Apple, where you just have to focus on what you do and forget about what others are doing. And then quantify your impact. Let it be in metrics. Be able to demonstrate it in metrics in form of hours, money. You know, did your impact result to an increase in terms of revenue to that company? Did your solution reduce the amount of hours it used to take? Maybe a certain they used to work maybe for they used to do the company used to handle a certain task for 10 hours, but you came up with a solution that did reduce the number of hours from 10 hours maybe to 5 hours, or by 3 hours, stuff like that. So these are the things that you really have to like take note of, and have that be part of your recommendation and your resume. And then get interesting part-time jobs or internships. By stressing the fact that you should get interesting, it means that get something that adds value, direct value to what you're trying to pursue. You know, you are a tech guy. Why should you get a job that has to do with the sweeping the streets? How is sweeping the streets uh, related to programming, or not to solving tech challenges? They are not related. But if for instance you get a job where you are helping you get into a web design and you help guys to do web design and stuff, that is interesting. It is related in one way or the other. Or some you get into a job where you are doing some data cleaning and stuff like that, is related to machine learning and so on and so forth. So yeah, so get something that is closely related to what you really want to do, and that means you really have to take time to dig deep. If you can't get it right away, take your time to go far and beyond to get that which you really deserve, that which is interesting. And then another thing is yeah, some of the things you can do that are connected to interesting. One of them is like helping a professor with research. That is interesting, because especially if um, the professor who handles who takes you through the tech stuff and so on and so forth. And then contact a startup. Doesn't matter whether you're going to do that, whether it's voluntary job or the startup underpays and stuff like that. Right now what you're looking for is experience. So whether you're going to do it for free or you're going to be underpaid, doesn't really matter, as long as you work at a startup, you work at a company or a place where you get these skills that you build your skills in one or the other. You can volunteer for a non-profit organization. The startups and the non-profits are really looking for cheap labor. They want work done, but they don't have money to pay for expensive labor. So by you contacting the startup or volunteering to help a non-profit which doesn't have money to pay, you'd really be of help to them. At the same time, you'd be doing something that is directly related to what you really what you're pursuing. So you might get into a non-profit as a developer and develop products for them. It might be for free, but the skills will be your profit. This how you're going to benefit from them. And then start something. If you can't get into the startups or into a non-profit, you can start your own company that offers tech solutions or a consultancy. That you'll not only learn leadership skills, but you'll get also to learn other things. You'll write blogs, you'll develop your app, you'll sell it and stuff like that. A lot to learn. And in fact, if someone who's started something versus someone who's been working in a startup, if the two of them go to look for a job, the one who's got an upper hand of landing the job is someone who started something, because it shows that you have the belief, the drive, vision. So there's a lot of things that can be said about you compared to the rest. So this is the end, and I just want to thank you for being patient. And thank you so much. So there's much more to come in part 2. So stay tuned and don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Adios, muchachos.